Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today I'm going to review my KWA AKR-74M or Recoil AK. Hey guys, so welcome back. Before we get started, I'd just like to say if you are enjoying my content, you're enjoying my videos, please consider subscribing. It helps me grow my channel and keep bringing you excellent content every week. So here we have in front of me a KWA Recoil AK or the AKR-74M. Now this particular one is mine, and hopefully you've seen my unboxing video from last week where I got to unbox one of these brand new. This one I've owned around 2 years and has seen probably about 50,000 rounds worth of use. It's taken some fair hammer. So a few points to note, and then I'll get into the positives and negatives. The sling loop here on the stock is not the original sling loop, and I'll explain why in a moment. That is literally just a like a keyring loop that I fitted on there. I've also added a little ridge rail on the front there. Hopefully you can see that. Just a little bolt-on one to allow me to fit a torch to the front if and when I need it. Sometimes I'll do urban sites that have got dark corridors and things, so the torch is useful. So other than the ridge rail and the sling loop at the back there, this is pretty much how it comes out of the box, with the exception of the flash hive at the front. So this, with it being intended for the American market, made by the Americans, KWA, this comes 50% bright orange. Now I could have sprayed it, I could have done a lot of different things with it, and what I've decided is I'd just buy a new one. So this cost me about £8 online from Thailand Gun. Steel just like the rest of it, and hopefully you saw my other video. You push in a little pin there and this will just screw off in the normal positive thread. So righty tighty, lefty loosey, and it just clicks back into place when it gets to the bottom. Looks the part much nicer, in my honest opinion. All full metal construction for the rest of the front end. Get to the handguards. The handguards are polymer like you would get on the real one, and you may remember this is actually the battery compartment on this KWA, purely because of the recoil unit, which we'll see in a minute, taking up the space under the top cover. So if I remove that, you get your battery compartment, so a nice open space inside of this upper foregrip. So in here I sit a 1600 milliamp LiPo. I feed the battery connector into there, the balance connector down there, and then this all sits a little bit trickly but snugly inside this handguard to power the weapon. And what I found is that I generally run 2 of these batteries. One has never really run out, but what I always do, just to be on the safe side, is I always run one of these till lunchtime, and then at lunchtime I switch this over for my other one and run that one for the rest of the afternoon, just to make sure that I'm going to be kept fresh all day to keep firing. I do know that this is rated for an 11.1, and I've not needed or wanted to try it just because it's not a big thing in UK to run 11.1s. So I've just stuck with a 7.4 volt LiPo, and this is a 25C rated LiPo. Fires it absolutely lovely. I'll give you a couple of little shots just so you can hear it ticking over. Click that on there. So it does come as standard with a mini Tamiya connector. So standard AK then, safe at the top, full auto in the middle, single shot at the bottom. So single shot, a couple of full auto. I'll clear that down. So that's on a 7.4 volt battery. You can see there's quite a nice kick in there from the recoil system, and in terms of rate of fire, it's definitely not disappointing, and that's on a 7.4 volt LiPo. So the motor that's in there is a really nice quality motor. Now obviously we've just seen the battery goes in the upper foregrip there. This top cover then, where a traditional AK battery might go, or the stock, is taken up by the recoil unit. So if I push in the release button there and remove the top cover, you can see it is absolutely crammed in there with all the recoil unit and the handguard and things. So if I just put it to save, and I'll move that back, you can see that there is lock that down from the other side. A hop unit in there. It is a wheel type hop unit, very different to a standard AK one, which is a little sliding lever. One of the negatives I would say against this, it's not much of a negative, it's just something I picked up on, is if you want to do internal work on this, it's a very different takedown procedure, which I will do a video on in future. So although the gearbox is based off a version 3 gearbox, it is very different and constructed quite differently, particularly around the front end, and it does mean that basically the whole entire thing has to come into pieces to get access to the hop, the barrel, and things. So it is quite a big job to do anything on this internally. That said, I've not yet had to do anything to this internally at all. It's worked 50,000 rounds. I've not changed the hop rubber, I've not had to mess with anything. It works absolutely beautifully, first shot to last shot, which brings me nicely on to the next feature. So this is one of the standard mags that came with it. At the time of this coming out, it came with a selectable 60 round or 30 round selectable mag. So flicking a switch, at one side you've got the 60, the other side you've got 30 rounds, meaning if you're a milsimmer and things like that, you want the realistic BBs, that's a great little feature. What it does also allow is when the last BB feeds out of the mag, the follower pops up and this little lever flicks up as well and connects with another lever inside that shuts the weapon off. Now this is the bit that really sold it to me when I first came back into Airsoft after my little bit of a break from it. Just put that back on. So a little bit of fiddling then. So the gearbox shuts off and you literally can't do anything with the trigger. What you have to do is insert a new magazine, click that in, then you have to charge the charging handle, then it will start firing again. And I'm going to be honest with you, it makes me so happy to do that every single time that mag empties out, to be able to have to change my mag. I've gotten quite good at the Russian style mag change, where you flick it out with the mag and then click it in and whip the charging handle back and go again. And you often get looks on the battlefield, people look at you a little bit funny thinking, what's he doing that for? He looks a spanner. And more often than not, I do get somebody saying to me, yeah, what are you doing that for? So at which point I explain to them that you have to do it, let them have a go, and people are genuinely impressed and think it's amazing that that's such a feature in an AK, which also links into the fact that it's such a different disassembly. Moving back, we've got the plastic foregrip connected obviously onto the bottom of the motor cage and everything, and we have got a motor adjustment screw in the bottom. If you remove that, there is the motor adjustment screw, and the motor is sat in a cage like on the normal AKs. Then we've got a folding stock. What I will say is the sling loop that was here initially during a game day, it was on a sling, and the sling loop was just a C-shape piece of metal that was just linked into both ends of this. Because of the sling, when we're running about, the loop opened up, dropped off and disappeared. Luckily enough, I had a keyring ring that I was able to thread through, and that's been on there probably nearly a year now and has not budged once. Excuse the tie wraps there from getting it chronoed at various sites. So the folding stock then, nice sturdy solid plastic stock, nylon stock. To fold it, press the button there, folds over, nice click in. It is nice and solid on there, and it, as you can see, it makes it significantly shorter for if you are in a CQB environment or tight spaces, or maybe you're just sick of shouldering it. And to release it again, push the button there, releases it, and again just clicks in nice and solid. Tiniest little bit of wobble, but nothing that you wouldn't expect from a folding stock like that. Just swing this around. Absolutely beautiful piece of kit. I did have a break from Airsoft for a little while, and this was the piece that brought me back in and got me hooked again, and this has been my favourite ever since. I do know that since the release of this, I've got 7 of these 60-30 round magazines that all work the cut-off. They have upgraded these, that they now offer them in 120 30 selectable mags, with the working cut-off, and they do high caps as well. High caps will not operate the cut-off in this weapon though. And speaking of high caps, I don't know what or how much is different. It doesn't appear to be an awful lot, but standard AEG high caps will not fit in this gun. I have looked, and doesn't appear to be very much in between the two, but they just will not quite go in. Possibly with a little bit of filing and shaving down, you might be able to get them to fit and link in, but I definitely haven't found any that will just fit immediately out of the box. So at times I have found when a lot of players are running high cap mags, I have been quite at a disadvantage just because I'm running the 60 round ones, and although at times that can feel a lot, it doesn't last long when you're in a full auto battle with a couple of guys with high caps in their M4s or AKs or whatever they decided to run that day. That said, that is only a minor point, and it doesn't detract at all from the use, and in fact it gives me the chance to reload and cock the charging handle more often, which I get a significant pleasure out of. It is an absolute beauty of a weapon, considering how long I've had it and how much I use it. And we've got a little bit of wear from the fire selector going up and down. I quite like the sort of wearing of it a little bit. It has got the standard bumps and scratches and a little bit of scrape and things like that, particularly where the stock has clicked in. You can see there's a little bit of wear there. It does come with a pre-installed side mount for you to put a side mount on there, for you to put a riz rail on top for a scope and things like that. However, what it does mean is that the stock has got to stay folded out. So if I fold it again, you can see there is no way in there that stock can, the side mount can hold a rail and have the stock folded. So if you do have something on that side mount, you have lost your ability to fold the stock, which for some people would only run it full stock out anyway. For me, who likes to switch it up often, it's not a deal breaker, but I'm quite happy to leave that off there. I prefer the iron sights anyway most of the time. So it's each to their own, I suppose. So this thing is an absolute beast. I have absolutely fallen in love with it, and I keep coming back to it despite my collection of AEGs that I own. I do keep coming back to this time and time again, just because it is such a lovely piece to operate with. It's got a great rate of fire, it's got fantastic range. When I got this from JTAC Customs, which I'll put a link in the description below, it was already doing around just under 350 FPS. I don't even think it's budged a little bit from there. It's still at around that. I've been so happy with this, and I'm sure anybody who owns one will be happy with it as well. So in conclusion, a fantastic piece of kit. If you're buying for the UK market, obviously be aware it will come with an orange tip like the unboxing one last week, but they are relatively cheap, less than £10, and you can replace that out. Even the new ones come with 120 round selectable mags, so 120 and 30, and they will lock off the cut-off, but be aware, obviously standard mags from a normal AK will not fit in this at all, so please buy the specialist ones or figure out how to modify a normal AK mag to fit. Other than that, I can't speak highly enough of this, and when my friends have used this for a game and things, they come back and are sold on it and wanting to get one, and a few friends of mine do have now these and absolutely swear by them. Off the back of this, it did encourage me to buy the Ronin Recon, which I equally love, but this I think will always have that little bit of a special place just because it was my first one after having a break from Airsoft. So I'll leave the photos in a second. Obviously please do subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.